Good morning, everyone. My name is Pastor Zach, and this is our straight talk for our budget that's coming up for 2025. And I have a great panel here with me of people from our leadership team that's been part of putting together this budget. So I have my good friend Brock DeWalt here with me. He's one of our elders. He's also a business owner here in town. And Amber McManamy, who is on our admin team. She also helps out with personnel for our reviews. She used to be our church administrator. And Francie, who is our current administrator. And so we want to share a little bit about how this year's gone financially, ministry-wise, and give you an idea of where we're headed for our 2025 budget. As we start, I want to read a scripture. This is Philippians chapter 1, verse 3 through 5. I thank my God every time I remember you. In all my prayers for all of you, I always pray with joy because of your partnership in the gospel from the first day until now, being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. And as we put this budget together, you all are on our mind constantly because these numbers represent all the different families and individuals that have been faithful, obedient to give to the mission of Clearview, and how all those little gifts, some larger, some smaller, but everyone does their parts, comes together to bring the budget together for the ministry of Clearview. So it's an exciting process, and even though it's numbers and it's spreadsheets, there's a lot of joy for us as we do it because of all the faithfulness and how it's gone. So we're gonna start out talking a little bit about how the year has gone, some of the highlights. We have started this budget process back in July, the first time we get together. We include about 80 people with all the different ministry leaders and their teams getting input into the vision and where they're going and putting this all together to present that to you. And so we want to kind of, from their input and from what we've seen, give some updates into how this last year has gone. So we're going to start with Francie. And Francie, talk to us a little bit just about how the building's been used, what you're seeing. You get to see, from a ministry point of view, all the comings and goings. And what are some of the highs and lows of this year for you?
Yeah, right. Well, a lot of highs because there's a lot of growth. It's been really great to see the building used so much every day of the week. It's a little bit hard to manage, but it's a great deal to have so many people here all the time. Some things I'm really excited about is we have so many new families come in here and so many new little kids. Greenhouse continues to grow. They are running over 50 kids every Sunday in that program, which is so fun to watch Julie with those kids. The youth group has just grown by leaps and bounds. I don't know how Jason keeps up with them all. And so they're here on Sunday nights. He's a really great leadership team and a lot of volunteers on that team. It's just really helpful. And we started a new ministry. They'll actually be officially a ministry in 2025, The Porch, and that's a young adult group. And I stand in awe of those young leaders to gather up the 20 to 30-year-old kids here in town. This last week they had, I think, about 24 kids painting pumpkins here one night. It was just so fun. And just seeing how we reach people in the community and how that's really growing. So, of course, we have our Mom Co. that we launched last year, and that continues to grow. Jessica's got a good team of volunteers with her helping come alongside moms of kids in school. Yeah,
it is. The building has just been full and bursting at the seams.
Yeah, we have small groups. We have some small groups that meet during the day, some that meet at night here. It's just amazing how much we use this building.
Yeah. Tell us some of the challenges, some of the lows or things that are going on this year that have been kind of the hardest part of the budget
So many
process.
people using this building.
Yeah.
it's really hard to kind of finagle and figure out, well, you can use this room, but you're crossing over with somebody on this side of the building, and space is really hard to navigate. And we built those classrooms to hold like 10 kids, and you're putting 16 in each classroom. It gets really crowded. It is a challenge, and but God's faithful, and we just keep going.
Yeah. We also, office space-wise, added a little outbuilding for our youth pastor, Jason. He's out in the cabin, we call it.
We call it cabin. Changed it from the shed.
The shed, right.
To the cabin.
Yeah.
Yeah. As we grow, of course, it takes a little bit more staff, and we just ran out of space for all our staff, and so we added a cabin that's outside for Jason, and that works pretty well, I think.
Yeah, I think it's working. Able to give Julie some more office space and more storage for all the greenhouse stuff. That's been great. Well, Amber, give us a little bit of an overview of staff. You help out with staff review, and kind of talk to us about the highs and lows of how staff's going.
Yeah, I know that everyone knows this, but we are so tremendously blessed to have such an amazing staff, both the ministry teams and the pastors and the administrative staff, and it's always a challenge to make sure that our staff feels that they are well taken care of, and that's our primary goal, is to make sure that our staff is well taken care of so that they can serve you all, and I think they're doing a fabulous job. I think this year has been, I think we have a really strong staff right now, and really good camaraderie and teamwork, and it seems like everyone's working together very well. We brought Jason on this year, and that was really exciting, and I think that's going great. His ministry is growing like crazy. And something we're really excited about this next year is we're going to bring Julie on full time. She is the children's director, if anybody of you don't know. I don't know how you wouldn't, but Julie is fabulous. So we're really excited to be able to bring her on full time. And do you want me to talk about the increases now?
Yeah.
So last year, I mean, everybody knows it's incredibly expensive to live in Chaffee County, and we are so blessed that we get to live here, but it's a challenge to live here. And I wish we paid our staff enough that they could just buy any house they want and move here, but that is not the case. We are so blessed to have staff that's been here a really long time, very well established in the community, and so because of that, we are able to keep them, frankly. Last year, the pastoral ministry staff did get an increase in the 2024 budget. The administrative staff did not. This year, looking forward to 2025, all the ministry staff will get a 3% cost of living increase, and the administrative staff will get a 10% increase this year. So we're really excited to be able to help out a little bit in that way. But yeah, I'm so thankful every day for our staff and how much work they do. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Thanks, Amber. And thanks for your help with all of that. And Brock, you've been kind of given the great joy of walking with us through all the land purchase and then this new gift, which is with Creekside. Tell us a little bit about the land, where we're at on that. Tell us a little bit about this new gift of Creekside and some of the challenges that have gone with both of those and the gift.
So yeah, we celebrated with you all back in the spring when we brought before you the opportunity to purchase land adjoining our property here where the church is. We had approached our neighbors to the south about the opportunity to purchase some more land. We brought that before you, and you all approved that purchase. We've been waiting for that day to celebrate when it actually gets signed. And we're still waiting. But we hope by the end of the year we'll be able to get that wrapped up. Just some details, walking through survey and some things with the town, and just trying to make sure we get all the T's crossed and the I's dotted and make sure all those details are taken care of. It's been a little frustrating that here we have the approval to do that. We have the money to do that already through your generous giving. And it's kind of a formality stepping forward. And yet, kind of stepping back, how do we look at that as an opportunity? And we know that so many of you that are involved in doing business in town or building houses, working in the county, and just the strains of growth that we all face. I think that's really been an opportunity for us to see where are we as a community, how are we stepping through those difficulties, and what are those things are going to look like in the future. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's an opportunity for us as we project forward. What are we going to do with this acreage? How are we going to step into that as we look at the building being crowded and used so well? How are we going to steward this opportunity that God has given us? So trying to put a positive spin on that, but really excited about that and what that looks like in the future. So tied into that, some of you have heard this, the rumor mill works fast, but we have been approached in the last several months to be given a gift. The Creekside Gathering Place Ministry has decided that they no longer can continue to operate for a lot of different reasons. And they approached the church about, would you want this as a gift? We're looking for someone to give it to. We need to give it to another nonprofit. We see Clearview Community Church as our greatest partner, and we see that that might be a really good opportunity for us to take what God has given us and steward it forward to somebody else that's going to use it to further the kingdom. So we're in process of receiving that gift. Through the pictures here, it's a nice meeting space. It's set up right now for doing meals. It has a commercial kitchen in it. We have done an inspection on it. We have paid for an inspection and are walking through the town and the county on some of the different things that are unique to this property. So we're in that process of doing our due diligence and what would this look like? Does this make sense for us as a church to take it on? What are those opportunities to use this? And what does God think about us being involved in this? So yet another opportunity is for us to partner in the community, seeing lots of possibilities there, yet trying to be open-handed in receiving that. So we are in process of doing that and looking forward to what that looks like. It really is a gift, and yet there is a small purchase price to make that $10, very small, of making that gift happen. So we're stepping through that, continue to step through that. Look at kind of the end of the year would be when we would close on that if we continue to step forward and say, yeah, God thinks this is a great opportunity for us.
Yeah. And so per our bylaws, in order for us to purchase land or receive land, this will be one of the items that we'll vote on for this year's budget. And we'll bring that to you. And so there's lots of questions. If you have questions on any of this stuff, please reach out and we can fill in some more gaps. But excited about the new land, excited about this possibility of Clearview or of Creekside. It sits right behind Case Park. We think it's got a great strategic location, and so we'll start moving forward with that. All right. Well, let's jump into some of the details. Let's talk a little bit about how the 2024 budget went. Is going. We're not there yet. We're in our last quarter. Last year's budget was $998,334. We were like right on the edge of $1 million. We've had to pray all year for the faith to say we have $1 million budget, but it's pretty incredible the way that we saw the growth last year. We stepped out in faith with an increase, and God has been so faithful this year. So, Francie, tell us a little bit about the year-to-date giving, how we're doing.
Yeah, God is faithful, and so are you all. It's just amazing. The number of giving units, the amount that you all bring to us is just incredible. So, right now, the year-to-date giving is that $782,000. That's through the end of September. I don't have October numbers together yet. So the weekly average then is that $19,552. That was over the 40 weeks, which takes us to the end of September. that's above our need, our weekly need.
Our weekly need. So we've been able to bring in the resources that we need in our budget and beyond, and our expenses are good. They're $757,458 through September 30th, with that giving of $782, and so there's been just a great amount of
we're in good shape.
Great amount of resources. To look at our savings, we have no debt, no kind of mortgage, and we have currently right now, of September 30th, we have $550,070 in our savings. But tell us about part of that still in there from land, right?
Right. Last year, in our annual meeting, we voted to pay that cash out of that savings of $275,000 for the land. Of course, we haven't closed on it, so that money is still sitting inside that $550,000 there.
So it's about half and half.
Right.
$275,000, which is our 3 months of emergency fund, and then $275 for the land.
Right.
On there, both.
Right.
Great. So again, thank you for your generosity in last year's budget, and thank you for helping us finish the year strong as we go into the end of 2024. Let's talk a bit about our budget items coming up and some of the increases that we're looking at for the 2025 budget. So this year, the 2025 budget, we will surpass $1 million. The 2025 budget is $1 million that we're proposing, $1,130,715. That would bring up our weekly need to $21,744 and our monthly need to $94,226. And that's about a 14% increase from last year's budget, which is it's a big step for us as a church. Let's talk a little bit about some of the conversations around how we got to this 14% increase. What kind of things are we seeing as far as growth in the church that warrant that?
Right. Well, we start out, in July, getting together with all of the ministry leaders and saying, how's your ministry going? What do you need to keep going, to keep your ministry growing? We see it growing, but how do we keep going with that? And so those ministry leaders came, and of course, a lot of our ministries involve food, and that was everybody asked for more money for their food line items. But in that, we also launched some of those new ministries.
Momco and the porch.
Momco, and now this year we're adding the porch to that. So as we just continue to reach out to the community, it's just going to take a little more money to keep materials, funds, food, activities, events, to keep them engaged and keep going and keep meeting them wherever they are in the community. In that new budget, of course, is the Creekside building, and what it will cost to keep that up running and going, and how we might use that, a bit of a projection on what that's going to cost.
Yeah, and I think some of the discussion was really, as we look at our attendance for Sunday morning, we look at small groups, we look at children's ministry, youth ministry, that this increase really matches the increase of participation and growth. First time 3 services for Easter, 3 services for Christmas Eve, that our congregation is growing by about that amount.
It is.
Yeah.
Our congregation is growing by about 15%. And like you said, like that Christmas Eve service was over 700 people between the 3 services. It was a lot around here. But how we reach out to the community is so evident in the growth of our congregation.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's jump through here a little bit so that you can know what are the details. For compensation, Amber already talked a little bit about this compensation line item that is going to be in here, and we're increasing compensation for 3% cost of living increase for staff and 10% for the admin team, which is Francie, It's Andrea. It's also our amazing custodians. So each of those group will be getting that line item. Let's talk a little bit about missions. Brock, you want to talk a little bit about these increases and what we're looking at here for national, international, and salt and light missions?
Yeah, so we're continuing to see the incredible value that we hold on missions. We separate our missions into kind of two different things there, the national, international missions budget. And then, so we support specific missionaries through that funds. We have narrowed our missionaries just a little bit. We've shifted a little bit as our mission team continue to connect with those missionaries and understand where they are, what their needs are. We are seeing some increased needs for specific missionaries. Think about the Valsines in Haiti and all that they've been through this year. Some of the other things unique to what they're stepping through in this season. We have really tried to concentrate and surround those missionaries with support and really meet them where they are, make sure the missionaries we are supporting are getting what they need. Those discretionary funds are for specific things that come up. So either congregants that are going on short-term missions or different kind of things that the missions team meet and pray about. And so they can meet those needs on a short-term basis. And then the Salt and Light Ministries, they really do so much in the community. Continue to support local partners, and also have some funds there to meet needs as they come up throughout the year. So we are increasing those things. Local mission, Salt and Light, some of that is that food increase costs that we're all experiencing. But some of it is, there's so much opportunity to meet people's needs and meet them both in the community and around the world. And so we want to continue to show that in our budget, that we're really valuing the opportunities that God's given us to reach the world around us.
Yeah. So missions is continuing to grow. Those teams came to us with their desires, their vision. In the area of discipleship, these are kind of our main areas that we have for discipleship. There's 11% increase, and those really is spread apart with all the different ministries, different percentage increases as the ministries continue to grow. And so there's an 11% increase in our discipleship ministry. And then benevolent funds. Amber, do you mind talking a little bit about how these are used and kind of what we're thinking, what we're seeing in those?
Sure. The benevolent funds are, we have several different benevolent funds. Both of the pastors have a discretionary fund from which they can help individuals, they can help groups, they really have the discretion to use that money where they see the biggest needs from people in the community and in the congregation. The deacons ministry, I know a lot of you have probably been blessed by them. They really work hard to serve our congregation and our community. I know that they have built handicapped ramps. They split a lot of wood and stack a lot of wood throughout the year for different people. And that's led by Pastor Tom, and as well as the care ministry. The care ministry really focuses on more spiritual care and physical, sitting with elderly people, but taking communion to people, visiting hospital, just really trying to meet the congregation and the extended family of our congregation where they are. The General Benevolent Fund, I believe, is that administered by Francie? That is, there is a team that oversees that, but that's what's available for Francie and Andrea when people just come into the church and are in need. And that's funds that are available for them to help immediate needs in a small way. And with the increased cost of living and just being in this valley, which is so beautiful but also so expensive, the needs in all of these areas are increasing. And so there's just a little bit of an increase there to help meet some of the needs of the people in our community.
Yeah. Gas cards and people stopping by,
gas,
and food cards. All of those, which is up at least 15-20% as far as walk-in groups of people coming in and asking for help. And then the other areas are G&A, and there's this piece here of the Creekside property. Brock, tell us a little bit about the amount we have for that and what we're thinking about.
Yeah, as we've looked at that property and just some of the general needs it's going to have, but really insurance. We've looked at the history of what utilities have cost there, some of the things that they've gone through in the last few years. Again, looking at what we need to put into it to maintain it. Really, overall, it's from the inspection, it's a good property. Doesn't have a lot of immediate needs, and yet it is an older property built in the early '80s, and so it does need some things taken care of. So we've included $30,000 in the budget for that, just as a projection of what it will cost to keep the doors open, keep the heat on, take care of a few of the things that need to be taken care of there.
Yeah. And then Francie, any other details as far as the G&A increases that we're looking at this year?
Sure. I think one of the biggest increases was in our insurance. Our utilities and insurance really hit us kind of hard this year. And you see that across the community. Of course, we use the building so much. There's a lot of supplies that are needed, a lot of cleaning, extra cleaning that's done, a lot of wear and tear on the building. Ron is always in here fixing something that's wearing out or breaking. So, it just costs a little bit more to get all of those things accomplished.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're continuing to grow as the congregation grows to keep up with all of those different pieces. To give you an idea of kind of 2025, 2024, missions as the number of between 95,000, 910, and 109. You see in the benevolent, worship and arts is getting a little bit of an increase. Discipleship is getting a fairly good increase as far as all those different ministries. Compensation is going up for staff. We have the administrative costs that are going up, and then the Creekside amount that we haven't had before in order to maintain that property that we've budgeted for. So those are the increases that we are proposing. Again, the total will be $1,130,715. The weekly need is $21,744, and our monthly need is $94,226. This is a 14% increase. And one of our conversations as we wrap up have been, one of the challenges of this budget and increasing it is also realizing that the cost for all of us that are part of the church is also going up. And so we see how inflation and the challenge of living here is impacting everyone in the church. It's also impacting our organization. And so there's a little bit of this tension that we're wrestling with. As far as the church is growing, we need to grow, and also we don't want to put a greater burden on the church than is necessary. And so I think that's been some of the tension that we've walked through, talking about some what-if scenarios. If the economy continues to go down and prices go up, and we need to adjust. So there's been lots of conversations around that as far as keeping, I think, the heart of our congregation in mind, and your all resources, our resources, and the faithfulness of God is just been part of the challenge of this season. You guys have anything to add to that, or the conversations that I'm missing?
Yeah, I just think that we have been so blessed. We are so blessed, and God is so good to us. We just really want to be good stewards of that, really open-handed with all that He's given us, all of the facilities, all of the money, all of the volunteers, all of the passion for our community. I just think that our heart's desire is to be really good stewards of all of that.
Yeah.
I think also, as we look into 2025, there's so much opportunity. So many exciting things of ways to step in, meet people where they are. We're in the same places, but how do we bring the love of God to those people? I think that going through the book of Daniel this fall has just been really inspiring to say, we may not be where we want to be, and yet God's doing things to get us where he wants us to be. And so that's really exciting as we look forward in this budget season to what does God have for us?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think one of the things that's exciting for me about this budget is so much of the requests came from our leaders who are involved in men's ministry, women's ministry, working with families, their vision to continue to reach out and to step out in faith. And so there is a lot of excitement in the ministry with our leaders because I think we had a great year. Whether it was our men's ministry growing in ways that the Bible studies and guys getting involved to this teen Bible study that 20 kids are coming to in the mornings, women's ministry. There's just a lot of excitement right now. And so there's this 14% increase. Obviously, there's some things in here that's just like, insurance. Nobody's excited about, paying more insurance or, those kinds of things, paper products and the food and all those kinds of things. That's in here. But I think the bigger piece that's a part of this new budget is a lot of vision, a lot of passion, a lot of stepping out in faith and saying, God, we want to reach more people and we want to disciple people. So that's what we're in prayer offering to the Lord, and we're offering to you all as a congregation. We want you to know that there's opportunities to ask questions. You can send us an email. You can stop by the office. We have some other opportunities. There's after this goes out on November 2nd, we have an open forum meeting, which is going to be here in the building November 7th. If you want to stop by, you want to ask questions, some of us will be here to show you, if you want to kind of click on any of these different items and get more detail, we want you to know you can do that. And then our annual meeting and vote is going to be in between services on November 10th. And if you are signed up to vote, we did that in January. If you aren't, please let us know. If there's this desire to be a part of this voting process, we can let you know what that looks like to get involved in that. And we would extend that to you. But we want to say thank you for giving up half an hour of your Saturday morning to be with us, to take the time to really care about the details of what's going on in our budget. And so on behalf of all of our teams, the elders and the admin team and leaders, we want to say a big thank you. And we will see you on Sunday. So God bless you all. Have a good day.